baby. The most important time of the year has come. Woo! The most important Lions game day that I can remember as a person. You guys were around to witness the 91 and 93 games, so I guess those are kind of similar times. Not knocking on age at all, but just is what it is. Ultimately, the last bit of taste of like major important game, ironically, came for me and Julius about 6 days ago against the Michigan Washington game, where national championship game I feel like mimics a little bit of this Lions game. But honestly, Julius, I think we were both thinking this like, damn, man, this Lions game, I think this might be a little bit crazier if the Lions pulled off. Am I right?
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, you knocking our age. I don't remember no playoff win in my life, bro. I have not experienced it. I mean, not a playoff win. I remember the 2016 and the 2014, 2011, Blasey. But I do not remember this sort of game. And I was telling Nick in our last show, I'm conflicted with the afterglow of that Michigan win for us, Adam, because of the build up to this game.
It's crazy because like after Michigan won that game, I like still had like an empty feeling of like there's still more to be accomplished, even though this is a different team, different league. I still want more, and it's that Lions game that's just sitting in our gut, has been ever since we beat the Vikings and the Rams won, and it was announced Matthew Stafford would be coming back. And oh boy, Nick, how you doing, my man? There he goes. All right. Well, Nick figures his stuff out. Julius, I think we know the answer to this question. But before the Michigan game, if it came down to only one of your teams got to win, would you choose the Michigan National Championship or would you choose the Lions' one playoff win?
That's what happens when Nick abruptly leaves the show. I get bombarded with the hardest question in the history of Michigan Lions dual fandom. I'm going to say I'll take the Lions win, bro. I'll take the Lions win, man. I record this show with you guys every week, and it's a passion of mine. And I would just enjoy the victory of the Lions playoff win just a little bit more than a victory than the Michigan National Championship. Although I wouldn't take away that Michigan title for the world, I'd rather have the Lions.
He's back.
Dude, technology is already trying to get at me, boys. It's already trying to get at me. I don't like it. What was the question? I missed it.
So, Nick, you're a Michigan State guy. Obviously, the Michigan game wasn't as important, but I'm sure you still tuned in. But just give me a little, Michigan State, I guess. I don't know. Do you remember when Michigan State was in the Natty? Were you kind of like following, watching? I assume so, yes, for college basketball.
Oh, basketball. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that 04 season most important game, can that compare to this Lions game, or is this Lions game like nothing? Nothing's come close.
No, nothing can come close. I'm trying to put it in perspective right now. Like I would say Game 7 of the World Series wouldn't compare to the Detroit Lions trying to win one playoff game. I would say Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Red Wings, Penguins, doesn't compare to the Lions just winning one playoff game. The Pistons beating the LA Lakers when no one gave them a shot, man. Go to work team. 5 games, 4 wins in Detroit. Doesn't even come close to comparing to the Lions just winning one playoff game. So I would say nothing. I would rival my daughter's birth. Barely kind of comes, I don't know where it lands today. It might not be higher than the Lions winning the freaking playoff game today. So that's where it is on my level. Like that's where it is on my level.
Oh God, love to hear it, man. And I assume most other Lions fans are feeling that same way too. Me and Julius went over where we were like, yeah, man, the Natty's great, but like this Lions playoff game, we are taking that 10 times out of 10 if the situation came to be.
Does that kind of stink for you boys to like witness this championship first time since 97? The first, like, in my opinion, like real national championship. You go through a playoff, you win a national championship. Does it kind of stink that it's clouded a little bit by like just like okay, cool, we won. We were supposed to win. We blew them out. That's what we were supposed to do. Whatever. I really care more about the line. You know, does that stink a little bit? Does that kind of put a little bit?
I already told you, man, I'm conflicted by it. It's like I have a pause, right? So if the Lions go on like a playoff run, right? If they beat the Rams tonight, I feel like I can exhale a part of that Michigan victory in a way. It kind of brings it all together in my world as a fan of both teams.
Gotcha.
So, you know, that's why I'm kind of stuck right now, just like Adam said.
Yeah, man. And oh gosh, like 100% Julius. It's just like tied in where all your eggs are in one basket for us Michigan Lions fans. And unfortunately, all Spartan fans' eggs are in the opposite basket where it's like, damn, we just had to watch Michigan win the Natty. Our basketball season isn't what it was. Our football season got lost. And now the Lions have to play Matthew Stafford at Ford Field. If they lose this game, my entire year and going into 2024 is off to a bad start. So, yeah. Spartan fans, you're in it with us too. We want this win just as much. But yeah, I agree with you, Julius. I need this Lions win to get a little exhale to be like, yeah, that's right. We're Natty champs too. Hell yeah, baby. So, it could be a great, great feeling and something no Michigan fan has truly been able to feel, like this double whammy. Sure, you know, the old timers have gotten the 97. The real old timers maybe got, you know, the 40s games, but no one has had a double whammy of Lions winning the North or playoff game coinciding with Michigan massive success. But boys, we got some good news this morning. Ian Rappaport came out and tweeted, looking good for our boy Sam Laporta. It's trending upwards that he's likely going to play, but he will have one of those big old knee braces on, which is kind of what I was expecting. We'd see a Sam Laporta out there, just not as fast, not as explosive, but as long as he can still, you know, block decent and make the catches, I want him out there. So, Julius, having Laporta out there, what does this do? Obviously, we know the player he is, and do you think the injury will be enough to, you know, kind of completely phase him out and just make him a decoy?
No, something caught me the other, it was a few days ago. I think Dan Campbell was on 97.1. He said that Laporta isn't going to play unless he knows for certain that he can help them win. So I believe Dan Campbell. I think he's an honest guy. You know, when he says something, I listen, you know, I'm like, okay, he means what he says. If they activate Sam Laporta, he's a weapon on offense for Jared Goff in my world. That's just the way I see it because I trust Dan Campbell's word. I trust their scheme. And, you know, they just don't play players. They just don't risk injury like that. They're not a reckless health and wellness program in Allen Park. You know, they trust their trainers and their doctors. So if Sam Laporta can give it a go, he can help the Lions. And I'm excited about it.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Nick, some thoughts?
Yeah, I said, I think it was on the show with you, Adam, that I did not think Laporta was going to play. That was because I was very confident in Brock Wright and James Mitchell. And then the word came out that James Mitchell all of a sudden abruptly had to have hand surgery, I don't want to say rushed, but immediately went to Henry Ford Hospital here in Detroit and had a successful surgery. He is now on IR and out for the season. That immediately made me think, okay, so it's supposed to be Brock Wright and Dan Skipper running our tight end position. Maybe we'll get Penei Sewell in the tight end spot. Maybe we'll get some Kabinda plays in the tight end spot. And I was a little nervous. That immediately, as soon as James Mitchell was ruled out, then I was pretty confident that Sam Laporta was going to play, especially after we saw a few clips of him running around post-practice and during practice. He's going to have the Gronkowski arm brace on, but on his leg. It's going to be this huge it's too early for me. Freaking metal leg running around. I can't even think of the word right now. How many beers did we drink yesterday? So I am just happy that we're going to have Laporta out there. I really am. I don't think this is going to be the Laporta that we're used to, though. I get, like, you can't send a guy out there if he's not, like, really ready to be himself and run out there. But this is the playoffs, so it's like, fuck it. Put him out there. It's better than nothing. So I'm excited that Laporta's going to play. I'm not expecting huge things from him today, especially, Adam, I think you were the one that said it our last show. especially like yards after catch. There wouldn't be the catch and run. There'll be more probably of just catch and go down type of guy, or catch and get out of bounds, and try to limit any impact that runs that knee could take. So, but I'm happy. Let's go Laporta. Bring him on.
You know where Laporta is going to help us out the most? Inside the 10-yard line with all the play action, the bootlegs. We've seen it. Laporta's had, I don't know the exact number, but I can probably say like 5 touchdowns, like right around that 10, 15-yard line where he's just wide the hell open. Doesn't need to make a crazy play. It's just the scheme of the play, Goff's, mechanics and all that gets him open, and then boom, he just has to make a catch. So that is where I think we'll need Laporta, and where I'll feel a little bit more confident in him, because maybe, Brock Wright isn't out there at that time. And if it's Anthony Fursker or Dan Skipper, Penny School, or Taylor Decker actually being eligible, I still won't feel as confident as I would if it was Laporta, sneaking out trying to catch that pass.
Yeah. Definitely.
Some other injury news, Nick, you kind of alluded to it. James Mitchell just suddenly put on IR with that. I didn't even know it was a hand injury, but yes, I guess his hand injury surgery went successful, so that's all good to hear. But the other one that kind of surprised us was Jerry Jacobs. He tweeted out a little cryptic message. We all thought he was getting ready to be cut, and we all thought, oh, baby, James Houston's coming back. We'll get that in a minute. But it ended up Jerry Jacobs hurt himself in practice or something, and he was kind of just tweeting a goodbye to the season, perhaps. Or maybe he thought he was going to get cut, and the team was like, no. We'll put you on IR. You're hurt, So that's the case. Jerry Jacobs is on IR, so it's not like he's cut and other teams are free to grab him. But I do think he is a free agent, so that'll be interesting to see what we do moving forward. Wouldn't be opposed to bringing him back, because he is still, a fan's fan, a people's guy. As long as we can just keep him deep down on the depth chart, maybe that cornerback 4-ish, just security guy, because he has hands. He can catch. He's not terrible. We've seen it, but we've seen some badness out of him. So ultimately, one cornerback, Julius, outside of Cam Sutton, who do you think steps up?
Oof. Cornerback, I can't say Brian Branch. He's a nickel.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll say
CJ Gardner Johnson. He's a nickel. You know what I'm saying? That's who I'm really looking for to step up in lieu of our devoid hole at cornerback, because that's what we're dealing with, boys. We're dealing with Cam Sutton, who's an average to above average cornerback 2, and then like a long list of practice squad guys. So we really need those nickel guys, those versatile defensive backs, CJ Gardner Johnson and Brian Branch in particular, to make some plays.
Yeah, Vildor's got to be my answer to this question. It's got to be Vildor. I know he had. I feel like people just think Vildor, wasn't he the one who let up a 92-yard pass to CeeDee Lamb? It's like, dude, you got to get that out of your head. Homeboy slipped. Derek Barnes whiffed. It's just like, he's been playing very well. Like, there's a reason why Jerry Jacobs was benched and played 4 snaps on special teams last game and maybe 8 plays total the game before that. Like, Vildor is the man. And Khalil Dorsey, I like him. I've liked him since the offseason. But Vildor's our guy. We signed him right from Chicago. I did want to jump into real quick I want to jump back to Jerry Jacobs. I'm glad we didn't cut him. And people know my disdain towards Jerry Jacobs. I'm not the biggest fan of him. You block us on Twitter, then you don't get my respect. I'm sorry. It just is what, especially if you're an NFL player, like have a bigger ego, or have a bigger pride. I mean, the thing about it is you can't just keep cutting these guys. Like, I was so scared when we were going to cut him. Like, Isaiah Buggs already has a playoff win. All right. Isaiah Buggs won a playoff game yesterday and then tweeted out, it's good to be on a team with real dogs. Okay.
Did he really do that?
Did you say, did he really do that? Yeah, he did.
I missed that.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll bring it up on the show when one of you guys are talking. But so he tweets out, it's finally good, or it's good to be on a team with real dogs, or maybe I paraphrase that a little bit, but something of that nature. So he calls us up. He straight up calls out Detroit and has already won a playoff game. And to be all honest, may win a few more. If we would have got rid of Jerry Jacobs and, like, I don't know, the Packers or the Rams or some team just sign him, like, you're just giving away players. I didn't like the idea of us cutting Jerry Jacobs. I am not happy that he's on IR. I never root for someone's injury, but I'm happy that he's still on our team. So I just wanted to go back and kind of reiterate that with, like, the Bugs and tie it all in. And again, to answer the question, in my opinion, it would be Vildor. It looks like both of you guys are trying to find that right now.
Yes, you're exactly right, Nick. So I didn't find that tweet, but he did tweet out, "This team's so litty. God placed me here for a reason. I love it here." And then he tweet out, "Dub."
Okay,
Yeah,
it was
he must have deleted.
He must have deleted it because I saw it this morning, guys. I swear, I might be a little hungover, but I wasn't hallucinating. All right, I stayed off of those yesterday.
I'm not gonna start throwing shots out until I see like a screenshot or something. But
it's right here. It's right here. Okay, here we go. See, so I'm gonna show it. Okay, so it says, okay, there it is. But I'm just gonna read it. Boy, when I tell you this team is litty, God placed me in Kansas for a reason. About time I'm around some real dogs. Dub first playoff win in my career.
Yeah, he deleted that and replaced it with the one we see, Adam.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He totally did. Yeah.
So
okay, Bud. Okay,
bring on the Chiefs again, baby. Chiefs Lions Super Bowl. Let's go.
It does say too. This post has been deleted right after like his thing. So like, yeah.
Listen, Isaiah, if you're a listener, a fan of the show, it's okay. You know, we get salty in life when these kind of things happen. You know, we understand. Mm-hmm. That's not going to stop the real Lions, the real brand new Lions, though, which you obviously wasn't a fabric of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And finally, I guess some bad news on the injury. Or I don't even know if this dude's injured. I don't even know what's going on. But James Houston, what the hell, man? The dude was practicing in full all week long. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, logged full practices, was looking good. Practice last week, limited practice 2 weeks ago, has been not activated, but like the 21-day window's open. So like he has to play next week or he's done for the season. So if we win this game, he has to be activated or else I guess it makes sense one way or another. But ultimately, James Houston, why the hell is this guy not out here? I don't know what's going on. He got injured on special teams, and this just makes me hopeful that Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, special teams coach, whoever makes sure that we don't send out Amon-Ra on kick return. We don't send out Jahmyr Gibbs. We don't send out Aiden Hutchinson to block. We just leave our superstars, our guys with mass potential on the sidelines. You let Jerry Jacobs, you let the Vildor, and you let the Dorseys, those guys make the special teams plays. We literally saw this last night, or evening, I guess. The Texans were playing the Browns. Laremy Tunsil, they are their best tackle, their best guard, best maybe offensive lineman in the game that day was on the field goal kicking team, and he injured his leg on the little like extra point kick. Luckily, he did return, but man, oh man, if Penei Sewell got injured on a extra point or a field goal, I'd lose my mind. So Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, whoever's making those decisions, anyone with potential, any star, just keep them on the sidelines and let the special teamers go to work. But ultimately, boys, we all thought we were getting James Houston back, was going to be that Hutch-Houston duo again. What defensive lineman do we need to step up? And Nick, I think I know your answer.
I don't even know my answer, so I'm glad you do.
That's awesome.
Outside of Hutch, I'm assuming, right? We're not just going to, like, obviously Hutch needs to step up.
Who's
big.
The defensive lineman? It's a Hutch.
Shit, I don't fucking know. I mean, they all need to step up, man. They all need to step up. I'm not just going to list everyone and take Julius's answer. They all need to step up big. It sucks that Houston's not playing. Hopefully he plays next week because we'll be in the playoffs still next week, and hopefully we get him back. It's crazy that he hasn't played yet this year. We need another edge rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. We need it. We need it. Hutchinson can't continue to do everything himself. We cannot rely on 3 sack games from Hutchinson every game. We can't. So we need guys on the edge to come through big. Before I take anyone, I'm going to let Julius answer, though, so I don't just list a bunch of people off.
My answer kind of reverts back to the same thing asked about the cornerback problem, which, I like Vildor. He's a great run defender, but his coverage skills don't seem like they can check much, especially what the Rams have. So it goes back to those nickelbacks. And I know we're talking about the defensive line, but we're the 8th most blitzing team in the league by percentage. And that's probably going to tick up even a little more in this game. because we're going to have to bring the heat on Matthew Stafford. He is the best quarterback when he is not under a blitz in the league by QBR. He is the best quarterback in the league when you do not blitz him. When you blitz him, it falls to his QBR falls to 30th. So we got to bring the heat, and that's going to come from the corners. That's going to come from the nickels, Brian Branch, CJ, Kirby Joseph, Aaron Glenn is going to scheme those guys with some blitzes, and hopefully they get home, because honestly, I cannot tell you who else other than Aiden Hutchinson can provide our nerves to be, calmed about this. Ain't no 4-man rush is going to be getting to Stafford. And, I remember Julian O'Rourke. He shows up every blue moon. Is tonight a blue moon? Doubtful.
It's a waxing gibbous moon. Or what is it?
No, it's not a wax. It's whatever
waxing crescent, right? Waxing crescent.
There's no way this has anything to do with the win or the loss. There's no way. And matter of fact,
the moon has everything to do with the win and loss.
Adam, I want you to go back in time and knock on wood. Who did you mention getting injured?
I'm curious, Adam, who did you think I was going to say?
I might have been thinking a little bit different, but outside, not QB pressure, but just defensive lineman, that's going to be a game changer. Aleem McNeil, man, he is going to be clogging those runs, those lanes. If Aleem truly, if I could pencil in an A+ game for him, I would say the chances of us winning goes from 100% to 110%. But Aleem, with that run game difference, it will make the world to Stafford, because we know Stafford. When he doesn't have a run game, he's not – he's good, but it makes a difference. We can tell. And even the Rams, when Kyren Williams doesn't rush for 100 yards, they're 1 and I think 4 or 5. And when he does rush for 100 yards, I steal your stat, Nick.
I was trying to look that up,
4-1 or 5-1. So if Aleem can just clog those holes, if we can hold not even under 100 – not even under the 85 over-under yards he has projected for FanDuel. If we can hold him under 100, I think that gives us a great chance. Just no big explosive plays. Just Lions run defense, be themselves. They are the number 1 run defense in the NFL. If you looked at advanced metrics, if you looked at basic stuff, whatever you look at, it's Lions number 1. There goes my phone. Good luck. But I will say the one thing that could help, disguise, a bad pass defense and force, the Rams to be all right, we got to keep running, even when we're not getting anything, is the blitzing. If we just keep dialing up blitzes and Stafford's, just overthrowing guys, trying to get the ball away, doing checkdowns, and it's because of these blitzes, not, bad pass coverage, then they're going to try to have to, all right, we have to, get play action. We have to incorporate the run, try to dial this up. So ultimately, Aleem, baby. Aleem the dream.
We forget about Aleem because he was injured.
If we're going to talk about blitzing too, we need to realize that blitzing is scary. That's leaving one-on-one with maybe the best rookie wide receiver of all time, technically due to stats, I guess, if you want to just call it like it is, or one-on-one with Cooper Kupp, who is arguably the second best wide receiver to ever play because of, if you just want to look at stats of his 1 year, he's obviously not, but he's really good. Stafford under pressure is not great, but the thing is, our secondary is pretty weak. So it's gonna be we do have to blitz, but we have to understand that when we blitz, there's gonna be one-on-ones, there's gonna be over the tops, there are some of the best route running wide receivers that can get open quick on short plays. It's gonna be, this game's not gonna be 7-0. They're gonna score touchdowns. We just got to keep them level head. The fans need to keep the energy up, and they can't get deflated at all. If you're going to the game, Adam, do not let anything bad scare you away from continuously yelling and louder as they're getting in the huddle. Anzalone called it. So if you're going to the game, make sure you're screaming.
You got to. You have to. And I think Anzalone said it, make sure that the crowd is loud in the huddle. While Matthew Stafford is giving the play to the rest of the team in the huddle, that's when Ford Field should lose their damn minds.
Agreed. We lose Adam. Looks like he's frozen, eh?
Oh, yeah. He's frozen in time. He patted his helmet, and it just – all I saw was doo-doo freeze. just like stopped his whole brain from moving. He was like,
Oh no, don't give yourself CTE, Adam.
Adam is in another dimension right now, just in a Lions dimension, just like Nick and Julius take over the show. I will float away into Lions space. He's back.
Hey, that's good.
That was ironic. Nick, you were talking, and you're like, Adam, the one thing, and it froze on my screen, and so I thought you guys were freezing, and then it like bounced me out, and I was like, oh no, it's me that went
It's me that's frozen. I was just saying, you got to be loud at the game, dude. Extra loud. No matter how many touchdowns Stafford throws, no matter what the score is, up or down, freaking roll that third down sign. You roll it up and you yell at it. You get a cup of beer and you cut the freaking bottom of it off. You just do whatever you got to do. That's going to give you a lot. Like, you got to do everything you can to get your voice echoing as loud as it can. I told Adam this, and I tweeted out, you leave your voice on your Ford Field seat. If you walk out of that stadium after a win going, yeah, you shouldn't have even been there. You need to walk out of that stadium after the Detroit Lions win going,
oh, you can't talk, bro.
Yeah, you can't you better not be able to say a word the next 3 days. So that's what it's going to take.
That's how I'm going to be from my couch.
Me too, bro. Me too.
Adam, you see that? I was talking about that right before you froze into another dimension. Get loud in the Rams huddle. When Matthew Stafford is in the huddle, tell everybody in the stadium if they don't know. Don't wait until they break the huddle. Get loud in the huddle. And they were asking where the Rams could be exposed. Listen, Justin Jefferson ate our secondary twice, and we still won. So it's a world where we let Matthew Stafford throw bombs to Puka and Cooper, and they go off, and we still win because we're the better team.
Yeah, we saw it with CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys. He went off for 200, and we still should have won that game.
We won that game. We're 13-4, man.
And also, boys, so I forgot, I don't know who put it in here, but everyone's like, some comment was like, I'm getting worried. Everyone, and I mean everyone's picking the Rams. And you know what this is starting to remind me of? When everyone was picking the Chiefs. You saw maybe 1 to 2 analysts. I'm sure there are a couple guys out there that are picking the Lions because it's like, Lions are home. We aren't going to be, every analyst isn't going to be on the dog team. You know, there are going to be some guys that, even though maybe not Dan Orlovsky, loser, but some other analysts will for sure have picked the Lions. And only a couple did against the Chiefs. And guess what, baby? We took down the Chiefs. So it's like, when the Lions are unexpecting almost, I feel like that's when they're a little more dangerous, because that next week, what do you think happened? Or maybe it was 2 weeks later, whenever we played Seattle, I think it was the next week. It was like, oh my gosh, this team's going to win the Super Bowl. We are so good. And Lions are going to beat the Seahawks. Everyone's picking the Lions. And then what do? We lose. So I do like it a little bit that everyone's like, you know what? Or that not everyone is like, you know what? Lions first playoff game in Ford Field. Let's just pencil them in for a win. This is an easy one for the Lions, because if we saw the media just congratulating the Lions already on winnings, oh man, I would get a little more nervous and get a little more of that SOL Lions back into me. But ultimately, boys, I will say this is the game that will end SOL for good. Put it to bed, kick it to space, night. But if we lose this game, this will enrage a whole new of SOL fans that are like, you know what? I knew it. The season is thrown out the window. I knew it. Dan Campbell should be fired. Brad Holmes missed on the average. And it's like, no. No matter what happens, we still have built something amazing. But boy, oh boy. Yes, I love that. Dan Miller getting some looks at Alabama, being the Alabama call guy here. So Lions, you guys might want to stay on top of that.
Is this real? This is like,
that's a joke. Oh, Dan Miller went out and tweeted after I think it was like Saban or someone got a huge NIL bag, or someone got a big contract or something. And Dan Miller was like, hey, you should float my name in the transfer portal. I think that's what it was. A player got paid to like come back or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's what the joke is about.
All right, dude, you had me freaking out for a second. And then I was thinking, how do I audition for Dan Miller's job? I might need to do that real quick. I'll be the voice of the Lions. Fuck it, I'll do it. Might be a few cuss words in there, but that'd be all right. We'll be all right. Yeah. I don't remember what we were talking about. The Rams. Everyone's picking them. Dan Orlovsky's picking them. Mike Valenti's picking them. I fucking hate him. Everyone wants to pick the Rams because it's low hanging fruit. Because the Lions
double
are known
whammy.
as
You can come in going, oh, see, I told you these Rams were good, or you come in being like, guys, the Lions won. I'm happy I'm wrong. The Lions won, and it's like no. And that's exactly what Valenti's gonna do, and it's just like.
That's a great tweet or a great comment right here. Yeah, Dano, pay attention, bro.
Dan Felder. Is that like the multiverse Nick Faber?
Dan Orlovsky.
We've got a couple universe jokes here. What, Julius?
That's what they were talking about in the comments. F and Dan, the trader, they're talking about Orlovsky picking the Rams. It's all because he's boys with Stafford.
Yeah. You know who else is boys with Stafford but decided not to join the Stafford train was Mr. 81, Calvin Johnson, who on the Kay Adams show goes in and is like, yeah, dude, me and Stafford are boys. But all bets are off when he comes to Ford Field. He's coming to the den. And he's like, the boys are going to eat him up. And it's like, yeah.
That's because Calvin has been in the stadium all season on the sidelines, welcomed by Martha Ford and our great ownership, and knows firsthand what Matthew Stafford is walking into.
Yeah, he does.
So, boys, I'm going to ask you this question real quick. I don't know how this would ever happen, but if there was a circumstance where just no progress was made with Calvin Johnson, like how it was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even a year ago, is how it would be today. Do you think Calvin Johnson would be rooting for Matthew Stafford in this circumstance? If the Lions were hosting a home playoff game, a year, 2 years ago, with how Calvin felt about the team, do you think he would be more for his boy Stafford than his team, the Lions?
No. He Lions, and he had the there was a little falling out, and there was the scuffle over $1 million that he thought he was owed, and Detroit thought they didn't owe him due to him retiring. Doesn't matter. Like Detroit getting a home playoff game unites people, right? Like we see Crips and Bloods walking hand in hand in Detroit. Like we see Calvin and the Lions hand in hand. Like it just unites people, man. It's something that you're just not used to seeing, and when you see it, it's almost like hell freezing over. So let's fucking take advantage of it. I bet Calvin, no matter what, would have just been a big Lions fan. He's Lions fan too. Calvin
Johnson is a Detroiter. He's a Michigander. He's a resident, just like, well, I'm not no more, but like we are, he's one of us, you know what I'm saying? He pays taxes. So he's a fan of the hometown team. And he happened to be a Hall of Fame former member of that team. And Matthew Stafford, his friend, plays for a different team. So I'm not surprised by it at all.
I think a few fans need to hear you say that too, because there was so much Stafford love this week. I couldn't get over it. I was furious, frustrated. It pissed me off and made me angry, dude. Like, don't root for Stafford today, dude. He ain't it. You ain't cooled by trying to be like, nah, man, we still love Stafford. Think of everything he did for the community in Detroit. He was a Detroit man. He's a Lion. We should put his number up in the ring of, nah, dude, it ain't it today. It ain't it today. We're Lions fans, not Stafford fans. Get them.
Can I make a statement? Only true Lions fans have your opinion, Nick.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. If you're putting Stafford over the Lions today, you are a Stafford groupie fan. You are not a true Detroit Lions fan.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the pride, baby.
I loved that tweet, post, picture, whatever. Nick, when you posted that, I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking gold. Because those that don't really understand, a very famous content creator, comedian guy named Drewski made a video where he went to Alabama fans, and there were these hardcore redneck Alabama fans that literally were like, give a piss about nothing but the tie, baby. Roll tie, yeah, we're gonna knock the piss out of their head. And you're like, what did he say? Oh, this guy's passionate though. I like you, man. And that's the Lions, baby. We're all, I ain't give a piss about nothing but the pride, baby. We're gonna win this game.
you don't give a piss about nothing but the pride. I actually thought I came up with that. I thought I was super clever and came up with it. If you look back on Sunday right after the Rams won, I posted it. I didn't post a picture or anything. I just posted the words. I don't get pissed about nothing but the pride. And then like a ton of people started sending the picture of it already done. And I was like, dang, dude, I thought I was the cleverest one of them all. I was like, shit, I just came up with this. Like, obviously not the tide, but like just replacing the tide with the pride was just super easy to do.
Works perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I guess I wasn't the first one to come up with it. But it's great. It's a great saying. I have been yelling it and saying it all week long because it's fun.
All right, boys, let's dive into this keys of the game. How are we going to get it done? I think, honestly, I don't think we're going to have a defensive game like the Cowboys, where the defense kind of hung around besides one bad play that could have been an amazing play. Defense, I don't think will show up to that extent. I think we'll see some plays, but I think it's going to be the offense where it's going to be if Goff comes down and scores a field goal, Stafford will come down, score a touchdown, then Goff answers with a touchdown. It's whatever Stafford does, Goff is going to play the game of whatever you can do, I can do better. And throughout the entire game, Stafford scores a touchdown, Goff answers. Stafford scores a field goal, Goff answers. That's what it's going to be. I think we're going to see a big ol' shootout. Going to get to my score prediction in a minute, but I think we're going to see both quarterbacks throw for over 250 yards, maybe even 300-yard passers. Could easily see that in Ford Field where both quarterbacks are very comfortable playing. And I don't think we're going to see a big, run explosion. I think we're going to see Cooper Kupp go off for like 150 yards, Puka go off for 100 yards, and the stats are going to look so skewed and so like, wow, this Rams offense is looking good. And you're going to flip the page to the Lions offense, and your jaw's going to drop because Amon-Ra is going to have 13 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown. Laporta's going to have 5 catches for 82 yards, 5 catches for 2 touchdowns and 50 yards or whatever. But the Lions offense is what is going to get it done. I think more offense is the key to any type of bad defense for us right now.
Yeah, I'll take it. It is going to look like that. And I've said this before because our defense is it's the epitome of a bend don't break defense. We allow yards, like we allow passing yards, and I don't like everyone. Our secondary is so bad, blah blah blah. No, it's just kind of how we run our defense. There's a reason why we have the best rush defense in the NFL. We commit and we collapse on the run, and we stop teams from running it, and we allow them to pass the ball because when you get inside the 10-yard line, it is very hard to pass the ball. It is very hard to pass the ball inside the red zone and scheme it up perfectly for your offense. So I am not worried about the Rams' stats. I am not worried for Jared Goff to beat this secondary. Like, we talk about having a bad secondary ourselves. Man, the Rams secondary is poo-poo. It is garbage. So I am not worried about Goff having a bad day. It will be interesting to see how our offensive line does with Kobe Turner and Aaron Donald. Those two boys are freaks up front. But I'm not worried. Like I know this is it. This is everything we've done for the last 3 years. This organization for the last 3 years has accumulated to this right here. We're the better football team. There is no doubt about it. But the Rams, they've won 7 of 8 and they took the Ravens to overtime. They also almost lost to the Giants. They almost lost to the Cardinals. They almost lost to the Commanders. Like, they're bad. They're a 6th seed in the NFL for a reason. This isn't like last year's Vikings-Giants 3 versus 6 seed, right? You knew that the Giants were the better football team than the Vikings. You just knew it. In the NFL, most of the time, the better football team wins. Kansas City yesterday, Houston yesterday. Those are the better football teams. Who is the better football teams in the NFC right now? Dallas, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Those are the 3 better football teams. I don't care if AJB is not playing for the Eagles. Those are going to be 3 victors today. I'm telling you, the Buffalo Bills will win. Like, the better football teams win in the playoffs normally. And everyone's like, any given Sunday, the Giants were a 6 seed and won the Super Bowl. That's such a one-off. It's such a one-off. Don't get caught up in that. We're the better team. We're going to allow some yards. We're going to allow some points. We're going to score some points. We're going to move the ball ourselves. This will be a good football game. I bet it is a one-score game, but we're the better team. So just relax. What does he say in anger management? Grus Fraba. Enjoy, dude. This is going to be a solid day. I cannot wait.
It's pretty simple for me, boys. Matthew Stafford can't have a legendary Hall of Fame game against the Lions today. That's the only way the Rams win. If he throws for like 5 touchdowns, 350 yards, and it's a shootout, and we lose like 38-35, 40-37, or something crazy like that, our offense is going to score points. Our defense has to take the ball away. That's what we have to see today from our defense to win. Honestly, all 3 keys to victory are defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs. The 3 position groups on our defense. That's my 3 keys to victory for the Lions today against the Rams. One or multiple of those position groups have to produce a strip sack or an interception and take possessions away from the Rams. If we do that, the rest of our team, like you said, Nick, our team as a whole is better. We take the ball away, take away their biggest strength against us, we win easily. All it takes is 1 or 2 turnovers. That's all it's going to take. And if one of them is a turnover for a touchdown, a pick 6, or a fumble return, the game is over. The Lions are going to win. And it shows. I brought up blitzing earlier and how Matthew Stafford just turns into a different player, a different thrower when he's under duress. Those blitzes get home. Those turnovers pick up. It shows in the analytics. It shows in the stats. Watch it happen tonight. And I know Aaron Glenn and the defense is keyed in on it.
I agree with you both. I will say, Nick, you're spot on with like the Rams and how everyone's like, oh, they're 7-1 their last 8. Well, someone put out the tweet that was like, man, look at who their last 8 games were. It's 7-1 is impressive. Don't get me wrong, especially in the NFL. But they beat Seattle by a point. They beat Arizona. They beat the Browns, who had Joe Flacco starting his first game as a Brown.
Also, Joe Flacco and the Browns are not good. People are like, they're a playoff team. They won 11 games. They are the Vikings of last year. They are frauds. They were frauds. I mean, Houston exposed them. Don't be like, but they played Cleveland and they won. No, Cleveland sucks. So add them to the bad team list.
I mean, it gets worse, too. Then they beat Washington. Then they beat New Orleans. Then they beat the Giants. And then I won't really count the 49ers game because all starters were benched. But ultimately, no one in here is super impressive. You look before this, they lost to Green Bay. They lost to Dallas. They lost to the Steelers. If you can't beat the Steelers at home, they're in Los Angeles, so it's not like they were playing in Pittsburgh where it's tough to play. This team, I feel like, is a lot more beatable than what Lions and other fans are thinking. If we just have a typical, game, like an A game that we've had multiple times before, the Packers Lambeau game, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Bucks, the Saints, any of those games, we win this game. So as long as we don't have a Cowboys ref jobbing, a just utter collapse of outdoors where that can't happen because we're playing indoors against the Bears, or, I guess the only Seattle game would be the only kind of way where the Lions could lose, where it's just a big old shootout and we lose on the last drive, last possession. The biggest, most important thing, Julius, it's not us taking the ball away from Stafford. It's them taking the ball away from Goff. If Goff throws 1 interception, that's going to put us in a hole. If Goff doesn't turn the ball over once, that gives us a massive advantage because we've seen time in and time out, not just Goff throwing pick 6s, but Goff's fumbles, interceptions, or whatever lead to points. And when that happens, yes, I know my jersey's on backwards. But you got to change things up, baby. Do it differently.
That's right.
And especially Barry Sanders, you can't wear a Barry Sanders jersey wrong way. I could wear it put my head through the jersey sleeve and it would still look good.
It still look good. Yeah, that's true.
But turnovers, baby. I do agree that if we get a Stafford turnover, that'll give us a little cushion to if Goff does have a turnover, that'll pan it out. But it's the turnover battle that I think will make all of the difference.
Put $5 down on Detroit defense to score 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I actually will have to do that because crazy that you just said that, Nick, because Dad, if you're listening, I don't know if you were listening to me last night as I was going upstairs, but the Texans had 2 defensive touchdowns plus 12,000, baby. $10 bet would have won you $1,200. So any type of teams playing a turnover-prone quarterback, Stafford, bet throw a little sprinkle dollar on the plus 10,000 or whatever. I thought maybe the Chiefs or Dolphins could do it with that crazy weather game last night. Didn't happen. But I swear there has been probably like 3, 4, 5 primetime games where defenses have scored 2 defensive touchdowns. We saw the Jets and the Browns do it all in the same game, which was absolutely insane. That was a primetime game a couple weeks ago, Thursday Night Football. And then the Texans just did it. The Raiders did it. A bunch of other teams have done it. So it seems crazy and fluky, but it can happen. So when Hutch has a scoop and score and we see Kirby Joseph pick one off and take it to the house, you think of old Nick Faber and me.
That's right. That's right. Kirby Joseph going to be like this the whole way. He's scoring a touchdown, looking right at the other team doing this.
Man, one thing I want to see so bad. I want a Kirby Joseph, one of those interceptions where he just jumps it and there's just no one. So it's like, oh, there's a pick six where like the last 10 yards, he can just free ball. He could showboat. He could do like a little hip hoo-ha because I feel like he'll do something. He'll do something.
Oh, Adam, you just sounded like my grandpa there. I'm a little hip-hoo-ha warrior.
Can I say something real quick? You mentioned the refs. Let me just put this out there into the Lions stratosphere. This game cannot end in a referee controversy, similar to Dallas. If we lose because of the refs, similar to Dallas, I worry for my hometown.
You guys know who's reffing the game?
I don't.
I don't know if I even want to tell you guys.
I know it's not him, right?
No. It is
aired from the playoffs, but
his name is
Lukeman.
His name is Craig Rolstad. Okay.
I know referees by face, so we'll see.
Craig Rolstad is I would say best known for allowing the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Los Angeles Rams last year, week 18, that ended up eliminating the Detroit Lions from playoff contention due to many missed calls against Seattle towards the Rams. Now, if you look further, Rolstad is known as one of the most high prolific referees in the NFL, one of the most fair referees in the NFL. But I would say he's best known in Detroit for watching that. So I don't know, man. This is just not the referee I wanted. I wanted Brad, not Brad Allen, but Brad, who was the
Rodgers?
Yeah, Brad Rodgers. I wanted Brad Rodgers back. He seemed awesome. Yeah,
what's crazy
is
I literally don't know any referee name, but if you showed me a picture of the referee, I would be able to tell you what his call style would be.
Visual learner. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Great point, Nick. Referees, hopefully, not hopefully, because it's going to happen. Lions are going to be up 2 scores, and then we're going to see the refs trying to save the day for old Rams and Matthew Stafford. Oh, what a story this would be if Matthew Stafford could return and beat his whole teammate, because we all know us Lions fans are like, no, the real story is the Lions win the playoff game. But I'm sure NFL media, big NFL, is thinking, oh, no. Matthew Stafford ripping the hearts out of Lions fans and keeping them in misery. Oh, that sounds delicious. Why go for the Detroit fans when we can go for all the other fans to root against Detroit? And that is what hopefully I don't want to see happen.
The NFL script has to understand that the Detroit Lions bring in the most viewing potential out of any. We broke records for team, not even our teams. You know what I mean? The Rams had one of the highest watched Super Bowls because Detroit put up. Detroit is just there. The national championship, I think it was the most watched national championship in however umpteen amount of years because Michigan puts up. We're all watching. They want America's team in there. Give us a little love. Every football team needs a little luck on their side. Let's hopefully we get the ref luck. So I don't know. I'm excited.
And turnover luck. It's a real thing. The ball, especially I guess on fumbles and tip passes, because that's where it's oh my God, anything can happen. And fumbles, if the ball bounces our way, that's huge. But if the ball just, rolls out of bounds, bounces, slips out of through the legs from a guy on the dog pile or whatever, and Aaron Donald ends up with it after you saw Decker and Sewell dive on top of it. We need good voodoo, good juju, boys. So, Lions football gods, please hear my request.
Yes.
All that thrown out the window. But
what are we sacrificing?
I know, yeah.
In my ball? I'm going to have to, aren't I? No.
That'd be awesome.
I got this stupid Stafford ball, dude, and I just feel like
Nick, if you were, oh my gosh, Nick, you had such a good
live on air.
I can't even take it. How are we supposed to make it till 8 p.m.?
And I've had a dream, right, that maybe it pays homage to late great Martin Luther King that's coming up, but hey, shout out to the legend Dr. King. But I had a dream myself that Dan Campbell has our Lions absolutely bloodthirsty and hell-bent to just run straight through the NFL playoffs to the Super Bowl. I just think he's that kind of coach that can get his players in that kind of mindset, but also all a bulletin board. We just saw it, Isaiah Buggs, left the team talking ish, former players picking against him all over the radio. You got your radio shows picking against them, saying they still got the SOL component. The getting screwed out of that win in Dallas probably still stings. I'm sure Dan Campbell, what I'm saying, just throwing this all in Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Aiden Hutchinson and Alexander Zaloni, Derek Barnes, all of their faces for the last week, saying that this is what they think of us. Let's go show them. Remember last year when they were they barely missed the playoffs. Nobody wanted to play that team last year. People didn't want the Lions to make the playoffs. They were like, oh, these guys make the playoffs. They're going to go crazy and start beating everybody. We're here now, and that's what I think is about to happen. I got the Lions 35, Rams 20.
I got Lions 34, Rams 33.
And boys, you know what I also realized? This is our first fresh predictions of the year, because if you don't remember, we all had predictions before during the season where we could look back. Oh no, I actually predicted the Lions win 42-6, not 34-31. Mm-hmm. So now, first predictions against the Rams. Oh, I agree. I think it'll be a shootout. I'm gonna go 31-27. Lions victory. And Nick, you also had the perfect opportunity. If you're an Oz Mentalist, or if you were an Oz Mentalist fan or something, you could have done a little magic trick and be like, well, for my prediction, I think, bam, rip open the ball, pull out the little card and be like, Lions win, Jared Goff MVP of the game. And then, lo and behold, after the game ends, that's the actual score prediction.
Oh, that would have been great. That I did not think that through. Next year, when we're beating them again,
hey, for like the 2030 Super Bowl prediction, Nick, you start practicing your magic now so you can do the old ticket inside the ball trick, rip it open, and then Super Bowl 2030, boom, pull it out, and we'll be famous.
I'm down. I like it.
All right, boys. Think that should do it for us. As you guys know, go Lions, baby. Check us out on Twitter at @HonoluluBlues_. Check us out individually. We'll all be tweeting out good stuff at Everyday FFB. Myself, Nick Faber, for Julius. Oh, but most importantly, boys, go Lions.